Can boys and girls be just friends? Can boys and girls have friends of the opposite sex while dating? Does someone always have the upper hand in every relationship? Is it ever even? Is there such a thing as leagues? I'm gonna fucking tell you why. Today I'm going to talk about some things that I don't believe very many people know. My answers are based on my own personal understanding of human nature in combination with my life experiences. I'm going to split this up into two separate videos. Getting right into it. Question number 1. Can boys and girls be just friends? No. Now there's been studies done where most, if not every single girl that was asked this question said the same thing. Yeah, of course they can. No. Every single guy said the same thing also. No. And here's why. In every friendship between a boy and a girl, universally, one person will always like the other person. And this is why. Because we as human beings are inherently insecure. Different people to different degrees, but universally the reasoning is sound. If the guy detects that a girl that he's friends with does not have romantic interest in him through behavioral cues and subcommunication, he will feel inadequate. Now, even if he didn't like her or say he wasn't physically attracted to her, merely by the fact that she does not have that romantic interest in him, he will feel inadequate. That inadequate feeling causes a level of emotional distress. And in order to alleviate that emotional distress, you need to rewrite reality from the current reality, which is, I'm not good enough to warrant this person's affection, to the new reality of I am good enough to warrant this person's affection, at which point that pain will be alleviated. Now, people will undoubtedly disagree with the notion that boys and girls cannot just be friends, but that is only because they have people in their lives that are currently pursuing them, what we all like to call the friend zone. Anybody in this friend zone is just a friend to the person who put them there, but is actively pursuing that person. Now, at this point, girls usually say, he doesn't like me like that. We're just friends. You know he likes you, even though he doesn't say it out loud, which is the one fallback that you have to make that claim, because everything else that he does screams he likes you, he wants to have sex with you, and you know it. You know it by his weakness to you, and the fact that he's even in your friend zone at all. You wear the pants between the two of you. He needs you, you don't need him, and you like it. And that's why you won't admit that boys and girls cannot just be friends. But if you were in his shoes, you would be saying, oh, yeah, no, they can't. Question number 2. Can boys and girls have friends of the opposite sex while they are dating somebody? Now, for the same reason as question number 1, most girls will say yes, of course. They've had friends since high school that have never shown interest in them. But like the first question, the answer is no. Girls, when they find someone to be with, are usually unwilling to separate themselves from guy friends that they have currently pursuing sex with them because they like the way it feels to have a bunch of guys constantly pursuing them. It makes them feel like they have worth and value because they are worth all of these guys' attention who are constantly trying to have sex but know that they can't, and it doesn't drive them away. They still pursue it. It makes you feel like a queen. I've spoken to a lot of girls about this, and the argument always goes the same way. First, the girl disagrees and says, of course they can have guy friends. Then I say, imagine this. Imagine your man has 4 or 5 friends that he's known since high school, and they're all girls. And you've watched him interact with them in a group setting, so you know they like him, because you know what it looks like when a girl likes a guy. The subtle giggles, the flirtatious touching of his shirt, and grabbing of his arm, and the way they are constantly aware of what he's saying, and laughing when things aren't funny. You know these things. And on top of that, he tells you, they don't have feelings for me, we're just friends, we've known each other forever, they have boyfriends, they don't even like me. You know better, and you actually believe that he knows better too. Sometimes when you're at work, he wants to hang out with these girls. Sometimes he won't even tell you. And you know that the entire time they're together, that girl's thinking about nothing else but making this guy hers, taking him away from you. So then I would ask them, would you feel more comfortable if he just didn't have these friends at all? And they always say yes. Then I ask, wouldn't it be reasonable for you to reciprocate and not have guy friends who you are currently, like your boyfriend, unwilling to admit want to have sex with you? And then they say yes. At which point the argument ends. People shouldn't have friends of the opposite sex when they're dating. And if this person that you're friends with is a true friend, then when you explained this to them, they would understand. Question number 3. Does someone always have the upper hand in a relationship? And is it ever even? where the power is equally distributed. No one person has more power or influence over the relationship than the other. That does not exist, and this is the reason why. In every relationship between two people, whether romantic or not, someone needs the relationship more than the other, because someone is more reliant on that relationship to validate their worth as important enough to be in this type of relationship with, whether friends or not, at all times. Between you and your mom, between you and your dad, someone needs the relationship more, and the person who needs it less has the upper hand. The good news is that there is no set role. It's not like once you have the upper hand, you always have it, and it's not like if you don't have it, you'll never have it. It can switch in an instant. As soon as the person with the upper hand realizes that the other person does not need them anymore, the power will immediately shift. There may be some initial fight to keep that power, like an alpha dog puffing his chest up to try and muscle you back into a submissive state, but rest assured that person with the upper hand knows they have lost it, and it is a desperate last effort to keep it, and it will stay lost provided that adverse behavior does not muscle that person back into a state of servitude. You'll likely be able to relate to this if you've ever broken up with someone who has cheated on you, or you felt didn't love you based on their behavioral cues and interacting with them. And after you left, they come crawling back, begging you for another chance. Their power depends solely on the fact that they believe you need them and are too afraid to lose them to undermine their authority, which is why they make all of the decisions, which is why when they get angry, the other person is always trying to repair the relationship, to make peace. Even if he's in the right and the person with the upper hand is in the wrong, they will take a submissive stance and apologize just to keep the relationship. This need and lack thereof is so powerful that it outweighs every other element of a relationship. Imagine that your girlfriend is a model 10. She always has offers from guys. You, as a guy, are like a 5. You don't really work out very much, you're not very good looking, you don't have any money, and you don't have any status. If you, the 5, were to get fed up with the ridiculous behavior of the model 10 and leave, she would immediately feel unvalidated and inadequate, and despite having unlimited options with guys, would chase you because they need you to need them, because even the best looking girls have that insecurity, and because that function outweighs everything else. If you'll notice, there's a universal theme to the answers to these questions. By not needing the girl, she needs him to need her, because without that she feels inadequate, and that inadequacy and her insecurity causes emotional distress, which the only way she can alleviate it is to gain back those feelings of adequacy by having you like her again. Question number 4. Is there such a thing as leagues? She's out of my league. He's out of my league. No. Leagues are a convincing illusion, but are not real. Merely because you believe that leagues are real, leagues therefore are real. If you perceive that you are not good enough to be with that person, that they are unattainable, then you will radiate that energy. You will radiate fear of loss, fear of inadequacy, weakness, confirmation to their subconscious that you don't feel adequate but are trying to be, and they will automatically be repelled by you. And that looks like leagues, because it looks like because this person was too good for me, they don't like me, when in reality it was only because you believed you weren't good enough that you were radiating that energy that they perceived, and that was why they didn't like you. If you were a fat, ugly, hairy, balding man, but you believed that you were good enough for the best of them, where you perceived any girl as just a regular girl, no difference between any of them, and there was no reason why you shouldn't be able to be with her, they will immediately detect that you do not fear them and that you do not need them, and by the same function of the answers to the first few questions, they will need you to need them, especially if they perceive that you are not physically good enough and yet you still feel good enough. That discrepancy causes immense attraction, because they feel like, how could this person who I perceive as inferior to me believe that he's not inferior to me, and then they need it, so they chase you. That is the underlying reason for just about every single thing when it comes to human interaction. Money, looks, position are all outweighed by the confidence that you do not need other people to be happy. That confidence and that assurance in yourself that you don't need other people will make them need you to need them, and that's what will make girls chase you. And if you're a girl, it's the same exact thing. Thanks for watching my video about dating questions and answers. If you have any questions, let me know. Leave a comment in the comment section below and I'll be sure to answer you. And subscribe to my channel. I post videos on Mondays and Wednesdays. And if you like my video, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button. Watch my second installment. Here's the link right here. And I'll see you then and stuff, I suppose. I never know how to say goodbye because I'm not really talking to anybody right now. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.